Welcome back, my friends. I'm JohnnyB with JohnnyB.com. Do you know how to get an unfair advantage in negotiations for your home? Find out now. First of all, let's just understand how much money can be lost in bad negotiations. I had a client who had purchased a home, and we were doing the final walkthrough, and the seller was there, and they were bragging about their agent. They were talking about what they went through to finally find their home after 12, 13 months. They had placed 13 offers, offer after offer after offer, rejected for a year. After 13 offers, they finally got one accepted, and she was so proud of that agent because of all the work they did for them, and they got the home less than the asking price. Now, here's the facts behind the scene that I didn't point out to them, but this is what's just made me cringe and very difficult for me to walk away letting them keep their opinion of what a wonderful thing their agent had done for them. The market went up 30% during this period of time. So if they're buying a $2 million house, they were selling a home just about that much. So if they're buying a $2 million home and it went up 30% over that year, that cost them $600,000. They bought the home below ask. Do you think they bought it for $600,000 below the value? I don't think so. Maybe $20,000, $30,000. It's completely the wrong metric. They're better off in a rising market to get the home quicker because quicker is cheaper in a rising market. Does that make sense? It's going up 2-3% a month. So it's costing you $40,000 to $60,000 more every month for 12 months. It's ridiculous. How would you possibly think that's a good thing to do? In terms of just your workload, I have a team who everybody on that team has bought a house from me. And the reason is almost all of them got their first or second home accepted. And because of the way I negotiate, they know they got it for the least possible price. And I'm going to explain that to you right here today. This is power. The market's shifting. We're going into new, different types of negotiations. But let me explain to you what we've been going through up until now. So 5 offers, 10 offers, sometimes 20, 25 offers. We're winning 8 or 9 times out of 10. So how do I do this? First of all, the first stage is what I call the preheat. The preheat is where you increase the relationship and visibility of the listing agent and the buyers. The principle is we have this prehistoric wiring for fear because fear is survival. The rustling in the bushes, the thing we can't see, that's what we're afraid of because that could be a predator. When you see a scary movie, the monster in the bushes is way more scary, so that's why it's always in smoke and it's secluded in some way. Later into the show, you get to see the monster, but not up front, because we feel that innate terror that we're programmed for, that kept us alive and gave us the survival advantage. We do the opposite of that. While everybody else is the monster, we want to be the warm, fuzzy, well-lit people. So when we have coffee, I will teach you the preheat process. And that's where we enhance the rapport and the comfort and the visibility of you so that you rise to the top. Even if there's 100 or 200 people there, they're going to remember you. And if you want to dig into it, you can read a book called The Like Switch. It's written by an FBI agent whose job was to flip enemy agents to be double agents. And we use some of those techniques in this process. So then we enter into the negotiating phase. The beginning phase of the preheat is yours. At the same time, in parallel, I'm doing a preheat as an agent for you. It starts out by email using my credentials, and the credentials are unusual. Nobody has my credentials in the state, in fact, in the world. In teaching you how to do the preheat, at the same time, I teach you to communicate with me that you found the home that you want and you asked me to do my JohnnyB stuff. The preheat process that the two of us do in parallel gives us the inside road because they prefer to work with us. That preference is developed subconsciously because of the comfort. Psychologically, there's a comfort that we're bringing right up front. We want to be perceived as the offer with the highest probability of closing and a stress-free offer. Those are the principles. So everything that I've designed is choreographed to lead to that point. Because we have the high rapport, there's a principle. The higher the rapport, the cheaper the price. There's ways of adding value which don't equate to adding dollars. We're using multiple vectors of value, and I'll explain that more fully when we meet. By doing that, we raise the bar so that everybody else has to come in with much, much more in order to beat us. Because we start out with this very positive environment, I'm able to get my phone calls accepted, and as this deepens through a series of phone calls, the rapport causes a subconscious shift in the listing agent. They begin to naturally give us more information than they would give to other parties. We don't ask for it, it just is what happens. So as we work towards the actual deadline for the offers, I'm usually able to get a live presentation appointment to present the offer. In each phase of the negotiations, we're using the right tool at the right time. Because of the bandwidth of each of these communication modes, we're able to maximize the advantage every step of the way. Text messages, very low bandwidth, very low ability to create rapport. There's some magical people out there that can do some, but very little. Emails, a little bit more, but not that much. Face-to-face trumps everything. You got body language. Many people have said that over 90% of the communication is not in the written word. It's in the body language, the gestures, the tonality, the speed, the intensity, all these things that you can't put in the word. Then we also use videos. So all of these are done in the right sequence to lead you to this maximum preference by the listing agent and the seller to where they want to accept your offer and they're trying to help you and me to get that offer accepted. Now, does this work 100% of the time? Absolutely not. But I would say it works 8 or 9 times out of 10. And if there's 10 to 25 offers, how could that possibly be? It's because of the advantages that this negotiation process brings you. And this is a process that I picked up pieces from the Master Certified Negotiation Expert. I picked it up from mentors. I picked it up from watching the top people in the field compete against me. And over time, I've created my own process, which I've never seen anything work like this ever. When you watch this process over coffee with me face to face, I'm going to be very transparent in how I allow you to watch what I'm doing. You know up front what I'm doing, and you get to watch me do it. That allows you to really grasp it and understand it. And when it's time to make decisions, you have 100% clarity because you watched me do it. You know what was said and what was not. You don't have to go through the certain degradation of signal of going from person to person, playing telephone until the message is so different that you really are uncomfortable making any decisions at all because you don't know if you trust the data you're getting. So watching it, you know. But you also learn the process which you can apply to your life and you can benefit from this process for the rest of your career. The bottom line, this gives you an unfair advantage. Now, in the process where you're the only offer on the table, we approach it from a completely different standpoint. There's so much more to talk about. This would take at least 20 minutes to cover from A to Z how we're going to do the negotiations and to walk you through all the nuances and how we layer the psychological rapport building advantages, cultivate information, how we use that information at the negotiating table, and how we actually do the negotiations and the post-negotiations for the post-addenda and counteroffer process. So every single phase of this process has been thought through, and I'd be happy to see you and share this with you. It is one of the most powerful things that an agent could bring to you, and I honestly don't know anyone else that has it. Next time, do you know how to properly ascertain what dollar amount to bring in as an offer? Can you figure out what the sales price is going to be or how to navigate this process? Next time. Hi, I'm Johnny B. I'm a team leader at Coldwell Banker in Silicon Valley. And I'm recording this as a thank you and high praise to the Real Estate Negotiation Institute for the wonderful class that they put together. Classes, really. I was not really expecting a lot. Frankly, I took the class because I know my clients want a skilled negotiator, And I thought the certified negotiation expert credential sounded impressive and it would help me with my marketing. What I found when I got there and took the core concepts was skill level way beyond what I expected. I had the great pleasure of taking the first class from the late attorney Oliver Frascona, and I got the opportunity also to see him negotiate live. He was facing a very difficult situation. He handled it very well, and he was very transparent with the class afterwards. We went to lunch, and he did the negotiation, and then after that, he came back to class and shared exactly what he did that went well and what didn't go well and what he could have done. So this was awesome. I was so impressed with the quality of the instruction and the materials that I went on and decided to take the Master Certified Negotiation Expert full course. I had the great privilege again of taking the class from Greg Markov, who is one of the co-founders of the Institute. I was super impressed because this is not just something that was put together by a bunch of real estate agents. This is really well researched. We have 105 books that were cited. There's numerous institutions like Harvard and UC Berkeley and Stanford and Wharton that are the information comes from these great institutions. And this was put together with the real estate agent in mind. So it's very scholastically designed, but it's presented in a way that's very usable, very applicable, and my clients are benefiting from it. You know, most of the classes, I take a lot of classes, and most of the classes that I take, frankly, that are offered are geared towards how do agents make more money. That seems to be what we have a lot of in our field. This class is how you can help your client do better, whether it's a buyer or a seller, and how to protect them, how to present their side with the greatest possible advantage. And so I've benefited from this and continue to benefit from it. And so I wholeheartedly recommend this course. I think those other courses are great about finding new clients, but when you really represent your client well, when you treat them like family, like a treasured family member, and really go to bat for them with skills, this is going to benefit you in the future because they're going to send all their friends and family, coworkers, because they want them to have that kind of care. So yeah, I heartily recommend this course.